Hello and welcome to a special episode. This will be a one-off, and I will explain why in just a moment. It's by NIS, ever reliable, always putting out gems. Process of Elimination. If this looks familiar, see, I've never played this, but this is a demo for a game called Process of Elimination, as you can see by the title. I fully expect a Danganronpa style-esque game. So I've never played it, so here we go. It's a rainy day in June, with clouds covering the entire nation. The live broadcast of a new gaming release is suddenly disrupted. Okay.
番組の途中ですが、簡単なアンケートを行います。左の新卒君と右の引きこもり君。あなたはどちらが強いですか?
Pardon me, but I'm conducting a quick survey. On one side, a recent grad. On the other, a total shut-in. Who do you despise more? The shut-in. Thank you for your response. Now, without further ado, this loathsome shut-in shall disappear before your eyes. This individual is hereby condemned to the fate of a quartered doll. Oh gosh! Entertainment! Hello, dear customers, and adieu to the consumed. How did it feel dismembering the reviled with the simple press of a button? Quite good, no? Downright refreshing, even? Well, I actually read that pretty in time. It's best to eliminate the... I'm gonna let it read it and then I'll speak. Alright, you are... It's best to eliminate those who don't share your values. Majority rules, after all, whatever bloke thought that up was truly a sadistic genius. No, forget it. The opposition may be trampled, but there exists no better system. The path to peace must be painted by the blood of the minority. Those behind this policy, the eminent among the many, give less thought to the few than they would to an act. I must hand it to them. It's simply ruthless. Oh, don't look at me like that. It was a joke. A joke, I say. I wouldn't want to get canceled on social media over this. Wow. Putting some realism into this. Alright. Ah, goodness, this won't do. No. I've neglected to introduce myself. So sorry. I am His Grace. Or is it Your Grace? Let's say Your Grace, the quartering Duke. An entertainer come to... I don't know if I'm gonna be able to keep up this voice. To bring amusement to your world. Oh, okay. From now on, every soul in this nation will be provided with entertainment to stir the mind. So please, indulge until you're full to bursting. Should you object to Your Grace's choice of recreation, you are invited to try and reveal his true nature. Such a show can't exist without diversity, you see. For this is a clash between tragic savage carnage and the comical, cultural stylings of justice. Oh, we currently have around 5,000 viewers. Then tonight's final act, a question from your grace to all the viewers at home.
It's pretty messed up.
The individual with the animal suit terrorized his middle school class as the lead bully.
Oh no, did I pick the wrong one?
But his teachers, who he sucked up to, favored him. He went places without atoning, using his father's connections to get a job at a major bank.
Is the shut-in gonna be one of the people that he bullied? And then I'm gonna feel bad?
This individual was saved by your first impression. No! I conformed to society! No! With that, do you still like him? Should over half the viewers say so, I'll release it.
I don't like playing to this moral dilemma. So I don't expect this game to hear me and then be like, oh, so that's what you think. But I think killing him might be a bit too far. That said, I wouldn't put up with him personally, but I wouldn't go to kill him. But then I really don't like him. But I want him to be free.
Seems not even 500 people liked him. A shame, nothing short of a tragedy. Truly, the sorrow is too much to bear. However, the quartering duke snaps his fingers. That is what makes this the very finest entertainment! Alas, it's too soon to be... It will soon be time to part ways. As for myself, your duke, that is, I am the enemy of those who mindlessly consume, and a friend of those consumed. Thus I take my leave. Do you enjoy the show?
The video cuts off at 4 minutes 52 seconds. As a hacks broadcast, those who ran the website were powerless to stop it. The video, just shy of 5 minutes, is shared across the net, mostly among the youth. But things don't end with that. Not just the broadcasted victims, but others killed in the same manner are soon discovered. The comment thread, at least 2 victims are always found at once, with their lock screens set on the symbol of the quartering duke. The police pour all of their resources into investigating the case, but turn up nothing. Pair by pair, more and more bodies surface, until half a year later, over 100 have been killed since that first broadcast. The sheer number of victims and brutality of the murders fling society into chaos. The quartering duke, an entertainer? What he's doing is basically a snuff show. I grip my phone tight as I read articles about the murder, speaking aloud despite myself. I've seen the effects of this duke all around me. People were terrified to go outside, and stores even shortened their hours. What's worse, he's gained some traction among young copycats taken by his charisma. Were the police overwhelmed? Small private agencies like mine are huge in demand. Apparently even the FBI is getting involved. Past events have already stroked the need for this line of work, but the Duke has only made things worse. The media jeers at the detective craze. Mr. Granonji says the ideal society is a peaceful one where detectives are starved for work. He may be right about that. As I lie and wait for my mark, I recall my mentor's words and sigh to myself. I work for the Gunjoji Detective Agency. It's probably one of the pioneer agencies around, though nowadays we're buzzing with activity. I'm a student working part-time, but they plan to recruit me once I've graduated. The situation must be getting pretty serious nationwide. An ideal society has no use for detectives, huh? The thought alone makes me a bit miserable. Is this the reality faced by all aspiring detectives? Okay, that's enough of that. My worries run wild when I'm on my own. It's a bad habit, but I've got to focus on work. There he is. My mark is on the move. After a moment's pause, the man clad in a trench coat starts off down the road again. I make sure I'm out of earshot before calling in my report, just as my mentor had instructed. Watto here. The target is on the move. He's headed right where you predicted, Mr. Gunjoji. I'll stay on the lookout for any traps as I continue tailing him. Quietening my steps, I follow the man cautiously. He's our top suspect in the serial pet killer case. And according to Mr. Gunjoji, he may be armed. Whatever I do, I absolutely cannot allow my presence to be detected. Can I help you? What? Suddenly, the man is right in front of me, and I reflexively take a step back. Did you notice me following him, despite the cover of darkness and my voice being out of earshot? Oh no, I'm all good. I'm actually running late for cram school, so gotta go. Mate. As I try to move past him, the man blocks my path. I doubt you'll make it on time if you keep matching my pace, and stopping every time I do. Your expression gives everything away. -1 point. Not that you should really be surprised. I can't do an old man voice, so... It would only stop on a completely empty street like this if you were tailing someone. That or checking if someone's tailing you. So the very act of pausing here was a trap. Ugh, how can I make such a rookie mistake? It didn't even register with me. I have no one to blame but myself. You're a fresh face. Who are you? Certainly no detective or policeman, given your noisy, slipshod attempt at shadowing me. No detective? Blood rushes to my face. I've poured everything into becoming a detective. His wounds sting worse than a slap to the face. There's no way I can just let it slide. Don't patronize me. I'm Watto Hojo, assistant at the Gunjoji Detective Agency. We already know you've been snooping around here, and that you have a knife. You're suspected of severe animal abuse. Now come quietly. I'm turning you into the police. I'd hoped the edge in my voice would intimidate him, but the man only lets out an exasperated sigh. Actually giving out your name? -3 points. I mean, that's kind of a rookie mistake, yeah. This isn't some TV show, kid. Real detectives never reveal their true identities. I bet you can't get enough of those over-the-top crime dramas, can you? As much as I hate it, he's read me like a completely open book. The moment a detective reveals himself always seems so cool on television. But he's right. Sharing your identity in this line of work is far too dangerous. Something to keep in mind next time. And does the detective's assistant plan to arrest me all on his own? A grown man you fully believe to be armed? The man slides his hand into his pocket and readies his stance. He's clearly holding a weapon. This isn't the first time I've gone up against someone armed with a knife, but I still feel my hands standing on the end. My hair standing on end. My heart slams frantically against my ribcage as I freeze up, willing my trembling legs to remain steady. No, I know I'm not ready for that, so instead I called for backup. I just need to buy time until my boss arrives. You think you can buy time yourself? You think you can buy yourself time, Mr. Wannabe Detective? I will. In fact, I have to. One of these pets you killed belonged to a classmate of mine. Classmate? She's still terrified and traumatized as a result of your prowling about. Being detective, it's my duty to stop you. Bringing you to justice is the only way to restore peace in her life. I'll be darned if I let you escape. I tear off my jacket and wrap it around my left wrist to make a makeshift glove, a guard against his knife. In my dominant hand, I grip a pair of handcuffs with like brass knuckles. Armed as best I can, I face off with the man. The man just watches me, showing me no signs of movement. Good, he's probably never seen anyone use handcuffs for self-defense before. It's only natural he'd be wary. I learned this trick from Mr. Ganjoji. What's great about this is it never fails to catch people by surprise the first time. I need to stall this out, even if it's just for a little while. Keeping this face-off going is my top priority. The Ikusa School of Arrest Techniques. I take it. Quite the rare fighting style picked up, boy. Huh? I'm struck speechless. What are the odds that he knows this tactic? I fumble for an answer, but my mind goes blank. Paralyzed in the face of an enemy, -5 points. Don't expect odd techniques to phase a man at my age. It would work on your typical criminal, however. And you were quick to adapt when all odds were stacked against you. That's an exemplary quality in a detective. You get 10 points, kid. I see why the chief endorsed you. The man suddenly backs down and speaks with a smile. Yep. Wait, what? Is this another trap? Glancing my way, he continues. Sorry for the misunderstanding, but the culprit you've been looking for is the victim's neighbor. I've already handed him over to the police. No job, no comfort, no direction in life. So he became obsessed with the quartering duke and decided to follow in his footsteps. He couldn't work up the nerve to hack people apart. The animals gave him no trouble at all. Disgusting. But who are you exactly? Upon hearing my question, the man pulls out what looks to be a tablet out of his pocket. The screen shows a familiar symbol in the words Detective Alliance. The Detective Alliance? I can't help but yell out the name. The Detective Alliance, the very organization I revere more than anything else. That's right, I'm part of the Detective Alliance, the only government-recognized detective organization in the country. I'm sure an aspiring detective like you yourself has heard of it. Of course! That's a mysterious coalition of 100 renowned detectives that always seem the perfect match for the job. The Alliance has solved every case it's ever had, and each of its members has an alias based on their defining traits. Looks like you know quite a bit about this mysterious coalition. Detective fanboy. As I calmed down, my face begins to burn bright red. I had let my excitement carry me away in a totally nerdy rant. Relatable. Still, the Detective Alliance has been the dream I've aspired to ever since I learned about it from Mr. Ganjoji. That D-pad you're holding is the hallmark of none other than the Alliance itself. You really are a detective, aren't you? Bingo. Call me Senior Detective. Been in the Alliance for eons, though these days. I mostly scout recruits and provide support. Still, none of the younger generation can out-investigate me, especially with cases as cold as that pet killer one. As prideful as he sounds, I can tell by his expression he's speaking purely from well-earned experience. He has an air about him that's unlike anyone I've ever met. The kind that can only come from a member of the Detective Alliance. As secretive as it is, the Detective Alliance has grown more famous by the day thanks to the recent detective craze. Even now, the news is full of stories about the cases cracked by Detective Alliance members. That there's all the terrorist plots in the wake of the Quartering Duke incidents that they've thwarted with almost zero leads. The whole reason I joined a detective agency was to carve a path to earning a spot alongside the detectives one day. Looked up to by detectives far and wide, the Detective Alliance is an absolute paragon for those pursuing justice. I apologize for my rudeness, Senior Detective, sir. Shouting accusations at you when I couldn't be more clueless. Don't be. I was egging you on after all. No need for the sir either. In our field, the alias itself serves as a title of respect. The senior detective amicably shrugs off an apology. His unshakable calm only makes me wary of where this is going. And as if noting how on edge I look, he continues to speak. I'll cut to the chase. I'm here to scout you. We plan to meet at our base of operations to discuss how to handle the quartering Duke's incident, and we want you to attend. Huh? I respond lamely, unable to fully grasp what he's saying. I'll say it again. We want you to join our investigation of the Quartering Duke case as a member of the Detective Alliance. What? The sound I make is like is so shrill and alien. I scare even myself. I pinch my cheek to make sure it isn't some sort of dream. Ow! No, maybe not a dream. Nope, not a dream. Maybe this is Mr. Gun Joji's idea of a prank. No sign of him anywhere, so probably not. Which means this isn't a joke, right? Not at all. We received direct orders from the government to put an end to the Quartering Duke's reign of terror. A chosen few detectives will convene at HQ to solve this case and take down the most vile homicidal maniac of the century. Nope. My mind goes blank again. But if this is real, then my dream is coming true far sooner than I ever imagined. There was so much I could learn, so many accomplished detectives I could meet. Ideal detectives like the ones I aspire to be. The kind who could have prevented the tragedy that unfolded before my eyes 10 years ago. Oh wow. I'm sure you have a million questions, but I want to hear what you intend first. Will you join us at the table and help stop the Quartering Duke? Give me your answer, yes or no. How can I hesitate? I state my intentions loud and clear. Yes. The moment I try to answer, Senior Detective's arm hooks around my neck and begins to squeeze like a vice. It's so tight I can't breathe. I flail and kick frantically, but all I hit is the air and the ground below my feet. I feel a prick as a slender needle pierces the skin of my neck. Urgh! What feels like liquid ice begins to pump through my veins. My skin turns pale. My limbs go numb and my strength fades. My vision blurs and my legs start to give out. I sag against the man restraining me. And then, as if the stars have been swept from the night sky, I black out. Everything goes black. Well, it's true that I asked. There was never an option to refuse. For you see, you have the duty to attend. The Detective Elimination Project? Whoa, Detective Elimination? I haven't felt this way in a long time. My consciousness drags sluggishly, as if I'm trapped in thick mud, helplessly sinking deeper and deeper. As much as I try to shut it out, that traumatic nightmare pulls me off in it again. I mean, they're panting, so I don't have to. In my dream, I am running down a dark, frigid corridor, holding on tight to the hand of a girl my age. Watto, I can't run anymore. You need to go on without me. You have to escape. What are you saying, Saika? We're getting out of here together. I made a promise, didn't I? But my legs... They're made of glass bones and paper skin. The girl is beautiful, with bewitching black hair, pure white skin, and light purple eyes reminiscent of hydrangeas. I remember nothing else about her, but I'm sure that at the time, she was very precious to me. And then... Oh gosh! Right before my eyes, a blade swings down and slashes her, covering her in a burst of red. Psycho! What? Why? I clutch onto her before she can collapse and face the criminal that did this to her. That's a rope. The massive, unmistakably inhuman silhouette emits a strange mechanical whir. Its murderous intent is nearly enough to pierce through the flesh as it focuses on me. I prepare to die as no more than a child. But at that moment... Go! What? Don't! The girl in my arms strains to get the words out as her voice begins to fail. I might escape if I leave her now and run, but maybe I can still save her. There's no way I can just abandon her. You have to live. Become the hero who will save everyone. This is pretty sad. No. That's all I can remember. My memory cuts out completely as if the next page had been torn out. However, since I'm alive, it's obvious what came after. I traded Sayaka's life to save my own. This is the mass kidnapping and confinement incident I was in a decade ago. The reason I became a detective. A shadowy organization took 16 children and locked them up in an underground prison for a month, never to be caught. Am I supposed to just live with the sacrifices that came out of that? Like Saika? But why kidnap them and put them in an underground facility specifically? There's got to be more to it. I was too incompetent to save even one girl, but I refused to leave it there. My heart and soul demand I see it through. I will become a great detective, a hero, and one day I'll reveal the truth behind what happened 10 years ago. Oh, is this it? I finally come to. My eyelids are so heavy, just opening them is an undertaking. That was one long dream. It was one I've had countless times before. Of that fateful day I swore I'd become a detective. That incident remains unsolved to this day. What really happened all those years ago? As a survivor, the vague testimony I provided didn't help much. The case has gone cold for 10 years now. I've got to find the truth, to track down the villain who killed Saika, the girl I owe my life to. That's why I entered this line of work. But that aside, my whole body is aching right now. My mattress feels like a rock and smells like... rust. I managed to pry my eyes open, but everything's pitch black. What's more, I can't even move. My limbs are restrained, like I've been wrapped in some kind of sleeping bag. Don't tell me, I'm trapped in here? What's going on? Mustering all my strength, I try to worm my way out. Suddenly, my vision is flooded with a bright light. Ah! Whatever restrained me slackens as my own momentum forces me upright. The sight I met with is this. A forest? Oh. And that sound? Are those ocean waves? Lush woodland lies before my eyes. Beneath me is an old rusty locker. Guess that's what I had been stuffed in just a second ago. Ouch! My whole body's killing me. How long was I crammed inside this thing? Who would do this to me, and why? When did I even get here? What the heck is going on? My head swirls in confusion as I try to recall what happened last. Yep, I'm definitely picking up Danganronpa vibes. That's right. I met that old man, senior detective, and then... The haziness clears as I begin to remember. I was suddenly attacked by senior detective and eventually lost consciousness. He claimed to be part of the Detective Alliance, but maybe that was just a bluff? Wait, if he was lying about being part of the DA, that means the pet killer is still at large. I've got to get back! ASAP! I reached to grab my smartphone, but after a frantic search, I realized that my front pockets had been emptied. As I continued searching my person, I noticed an unfamiliar weight in my back pocket. That's weird. I don't normally keep stuff back there. Suspicious. I carefully plucked the foreign object out from my pocket. Ah, it's a tablet device. Like an oversized smartphone, more or less. The moment I see it, though, a chill runs down my spine. No way. Is this? I lift it up, touching the buttons out of habit, and then a notification appears. Authentication successful. Good morning, Wato Hojo. Seems like your D-pad's working, Surely you were drugged, but sakes alive. Boy. Out cold for 3 days straight, -1 point. As the tablet comes to life, a familiar voice emanates from its speaker. This is Senior Detective, the agent who brought you here. We met 3 days ago, though to you, I suppose it felt like it only just happened. Wait, I was out for 3 days? So Senior Detective's the one reaching out to me? I knew I recognized this voice from somewhere. Still, his tone is pretty nonchalant for a kidnapper. I can't help but feel irritated. While I'm certain you think I've deceived you, you are, in fact, the newest member of the Detective Alliance. If you doubt me, view the detective roster on your D-pad. That electronic device you know is a trademark of the Alliance. As an official member of the Alliance, your personal information should be already recorded in the database. I open up the tablet and look through the roster he mentioned. There I find my profile beginning with my full legal name. Wato Hojo, detective rank, number 100. Yep, that's me. It even lists the details only Mr. Gunjoji would know, like my work skills and work experience. Ouch, my special skill is housework? I'm no great detective, sure, but that's a low blow. I wonder what else is in here. It lists other detectives' ranks and aliases too, not to mention intel investigation statuses on recent atrocities? From the last incidents all the way back to before I was born. It's a robust selection of key documents and cases infamous to the public. Far too much for one person to read, frankly. Even at a glance, most of the content seems too highly technical in nature. This is way too much effort for a prank. Meaning the DA really did recruit me. Can I trust what the senior detective says? So I've actually been recruited by the Detective Alliance? This isn't a joke, right, Senior Detective, sir? You're listening to a recording at present. An emergency came up, so I've hidden you in the woods while I go address it. Ah, so that's how it is. I assume this was a phone call, but I guess that's not the case. The device's settings must have configured to play this voice message as soon as it finished authenticating. When you're ready, open the map on your D-pad. Then make your way through the woods and head for the bear at the peak. Once there, you should meet the others. I promise to head over myself once I'm able. So just wait for me in front of the manor. The manor. What is a manor? And one last thing, do not, under any circumstance, enter the structure you'll see along the way. Unauthorized entry will result in far worse than a subtraction of points. Follow my order like your very life depends on it. The senior detective speaks without pause. The moment he's finished, the sound cuts abruptly. I stand there in a daze, holding the tablet, my new D-pad, in one hand. I lift my head and peer through the tree line, making out the shape of a mountain with an imposing manor resting on its summit. Is that the building Senior Detective was referring to? Well, I don't fully trust him. My options are limited. Press for choice, I open the map application on my tablet. Various graphics appear on the screen, displaying the surrounding area. All the blue surrounding everything must be the ocean, which means I've been taken to a remote island. Morgue? Is that the name of this place? Never heard of it. Could I be in a foreign country or something? Either way, getting all gloomy won't solve things. I use my fingers to zoom in on the map, hoping to find more info to go off. The screen displays my current location and a few details about the vicinity. Just as Senior Detective says, there seems to be some sort of manor atop the peak, plus another structure near the tree line. Without any other clues to guide me, I decide to follow Senior Detective's instructions for now. Oh, I need to register my detective alias on here, but I don't have any talents, and I definitely regret putting something random. Nope, I've got nothing. The tablet hums quietly as I trek on. Before long, I see a parting in the trees. A massive heliport stretches before me. To the right sits a relatively small 3-story building. Though it blocks my line of sight, I assume that the manor is just ahead at the top of the hill. The structure here must be one Senior Detective warned me against entering. It's not like I really trust the guy, so I'm immediately a bit curious to sneak a peek inside. But as soon as the thought crosses my mind, a sudden sense of unease washes over me. On my tablet's map, I see a number of circular icons displayed within the building's walls. And not just a handful either. Dozens of icons crowd around like ants swarming over food. Judging by my own marker on the map, I think these icons are all people? But if that's the case, what does this mean? My apprehension refuses to die down. I get the sense that going in there would only end in regret, just as Senior Detective had warned. I need to decide my next step carefully. I like that I get to choose. We'll go to the manor. I decide to do what Senior Detective suggested and make my way to the manor at the peak of the mountain. My mentor has always chided me for being so rash. Maybe I wouldn't have been inducted if I had just waited for him like I was supposed to. Alright, so I might, on my own, see what would happen if I chose the other one. I should follow Senior Detective's advice, especially considering that he must have a better grasp of the situation than me. What is this place, really? This island? I make my way up the mountain, quietly grumbling to myself, when suddenly a chill runs down my spine. I quickly turn to look behind me, but the only thing in sight is that building. I get the strange feeling that going there would have had irrevocable consequences for me. My uneasiness lingers, but I turn back and keep going in spite of it. Dude, now I want to know what would have happened! I continue up the mountain path for about 15 minutes, till last I arrive at the manor door. It was a gentle incline, but I'm still spent. I warily take a seat, resting my back against the outside of the wall of the manor. What if this is a game that my choices doesn't necessarily determine how I go? Like process of elimination, meaning I've got to pick something, and if I pick the wrong thing, I get the bad end. It's the exact kind of setting you'd expect in any mystery novel. The manor's exterior speaks to its age, and it smells faintly of lumber. During my approach, I can only grasp at the situations and structure's imposing beauty. Under closer inspection, I notice its windows are constructed with an unnaturally thick glass, impossible to break or peek through. But that didn't stop me from trying. No, I'm just kidding. I stand up and circle the perimeter. There doesn't appear to be any points of entry aside from the front door. If anything, it seems like it was built to house prisoners, not residents. This definitely isn't your average manor. What on earth could be waiting within? I slow down and catch my breath. My hand is damp with sweat as I turn the knob of the manor's only entrance. A loud clank rings out as it swings open with ease. Didn't he tell you not to go in? The interior seems normal enough. Am I just overthinking things? I ask weakly as I take a step inside. As soon as I let go of the knob, the door closes on its own. Not to mention, 1 moment later, a sharp pain erupts in my head, causing me to stagger involuntarily. A shadow at my feet expands rapidly. My spine tingles as I feel something rush quickly towards me. Without even a moment of hesitation, I kick out and leap to the side. However, something slams hard against the back of my skull. The impact sends me flying. My vision swims. My mind's already fading. I find myself unable to stand, and the world fades to white. Again, he told you to stay outside! Yo guys, this chump ain't waking up. How about I kick him around for a bit? Don't be so violent, Rowdy! I hear voices nearby. I totes side with Doleful here. Violence is so not cool. Why don't we just, like, dump a bucket of water on him instead? That idea is just as extreme downtown. Well, it's just as extreme downtown. Oh, that's the name. Let's try to consider our options rationally. Perhaps his vital organs are unresponsive. I shall administer a cardiac massage at once. No need for that. I think he's waking up. I open my eyes, but my vision is blurred. The dizzying pain in my head is unbearable. There's a constant ring in my ears and my body won't move an inch. A wave of nausea comes over me, but I manage to stop myself from groaning. What happened? I vaguely recall being hit by something the moment I stepped into the manor. At last my vision finally clears up. Who are you people? When my eyes refocus, I'm met with several unfamiliar faces and a sturdy rope binding me. I'm tied up, surrounded by a group of strangers. What in the world is going on? You lousy intruder! Ah! A girl in a sports jacket grabs me by the throat, glowering menacingly. She looks to be in her early teens, but her strength is incredible. I can't get a peep out while trapped in her iron grip. You got some stones jumping on us on our home turf. Who you spying for, huh? Huh? Calm down, rowdy detective. To heck with that! This jamoke might have offed some of our own. Plus, he won't give us an answer. I ain't just gonna let that slide. Well, he can't talk if you're actively choking him, now can he? Huh? Oh, crap, you got a point, techie detective? Sorry, intruder, my bad, 100%. The girl in the sports jacket lets me go, then immediately falls to her knees, touching her head to the floor as she apologizes. It's okay, you don't need to grovel about it. I'm still in the dark here. Forget that you have every reason to suspect me. That checks out, but it doesn't make us right. One bad turn deserves another, so come on, hit me! No way am I gonna do that. Besides, I can't. I'm all tied up, so please stop bowing. I have literally no idea what's happening. Who are all of you? What is this island? What's going on around here? As I ask the so-called rowdy detective my questions, the boy in the wheelchair approaches us. I take it you aren't here of your own volition. You say you aren't informed on the situation, right? Tenchi. Yeah, all I know is that senior detective brought me here. Senior detective? The boy called Techie Detective cups his chin in thought. I checked your eyes to verify you were unconscious. We'll just assume it wasn't a self-induced ruse for now. But Senior Detective bringing you to HQ? That doesn't sit well with me. Where do you fit in with the rest of us? What do you have to do with the Quartering Duke investigation? Yo, Earthy to Techie Detective. Ow! Oh, sorry, I was lost in thought. Rowdy Detective pokes Techie Detective, snapping him out of his trance. He dips in his head in apology. I am as confused as ever right now, but I have heard of these two detectives before. Does that mean that all of them are... Anyway, should we let this guy loose? Keep grilling him while he's tied up, and people are gonna think we're into this kind of stuff. Hold on, downtown detective. Huh? What? Oh, sorry, it's just, we should wait a bit longer, I think. The trending girl responds with indignation, causing the frail boy to tear up. That's a boy? Okay. Nevertheless, he doesn't back down. Our enemy wields a deadly poison that can kill over 20 people. If this is him, he can wipe us all out just by scattering a trace amount of it. Freeing him without at least a pat-down would be far too dangerous. Oh yeah, guess I got a little antsy there. My bad. Even though her idea got rejected, the trending girl called Downtown Detective laughs as if nothing happened. Thanks, Doleful Detective. No wonder you're 14. Number 14. Mad props. Nonsense, I'm just paranoid. Still, I don't want any more victims. Like all those people in the research facility. If anything, we need to be overcautious. The somewhat androgynous youth speaks with a voice full of terror. Victims, like those in the research facility? The comment catches my attention, but now isn't the time to be asking questions. I continue to watch in silence. Fear not, Sir Doleful, Detective. Even should his intentions prove nefarious, I, Armored Detective, shall swear to protect you. Cool. The armored man rests one hand on the youth he called Doleful Detective and on the other Downtown Detective. Thanks, Armor. Physical exertion is a lot for me, so I appreciate it. Though the boy smiles at Armored Detective, Downtown Detective waves off the gauntlet, looking utterly repulsed. Yeah, nah, I'm good. You're like suffocating me. Would you back off, number 32? Oh! You recall my rank! Despite being the only one here that is lower than 30. My heart is stirred. I swear to protect you with my life. On my life. Ugh. Take a hint. How annoying can you get? Armored Detective happily strides closer to Downtown Detective. He doesn't seem to notice a look of genuine disgust on her face. Moving on, should we touch base with the chief on our D-pads? We're lucky our detective signals allow us to communicate from the manor to the research facility. A man who looks like a corporate employee joins the conversation. He holds a familiar tablet-like device in his hands, a D-pad, the trademark of the Detective Alliance. My heart beats faster in spite of myself as I guess at the nature of my company. Thanks, Workaholic Detective. You're always so quick on your feet. Adulting 101. Plan, do, Check. Act. As for our sleeping beauty here, I got in touch with the chief, and he intended a fellow member of the DA. And he is indeed. To be safe, I'd like to confirm with you directly. This is no mistake, right? Right, no mistake about it. Though I only just got my D-pad, honestly, I'm completely new to this. Everything clicks into place as I speak with the man referred to as the workaholic detective. I knew it, they really are part of the Alliance. And they aren't just any average members. They're so famous that nobody like me knows them. There can only be one possible reason why a group of detectives like this would be gathered here. It was the same thing I had been brought for, to discuss how to handle the quartering Duke. They're all here for that meeting, no doubt. The only question that remains is, why would a new recruit, who lacks even a proper alias, be at the Detective Alliance HQ? Oh, you also invited to participate in our discussion regarding how to deal with a quartering detective. Yes, Senior Detective explained it to me. Oh, that's right, I have my own D-pad too. So the one in your shirt pocket was really yours. My apologies. I took the liberty of searching. What? When? When you were unconscious? I don't know how. The workaholic detective was clearly holding my device. The fact he could swipe it without me noticing is terrifying. Now then, if you would allow me to borrow your hand for just a moment. Workaholic detective grabs my hand to bypass the D-pad's fingerprint authentication, navigating to the message application with practiced ease. He seems to be checking my invitation to the quarter Duke meeting, which I had been reading just before I fell unconscious. I see, the exact same message appeared as the one I received. It appears you truly will be joining us. Relief washes through me as workaholic detectives smile. But that didn't last long. That being said, anyone capable of infiltrating this island could have no trouble faking a simple email. Workaholic detective's smile turns grim. His piercing gaze cuts right through me, making my body flare up with goosebumps. Making lousy knockoffs, eh? You're asking for a one-way ticket to the down under, pal, courtesy of my fist. You don't give off that unique presence the rest of us detectives have. Just who are you? We lack sufficient data for any conclusions. For now, we have no choice but to keep them under surveillance until we find out more. The other detectives watch me warily. Their eyes make it abundantly clear that they were on high alert. I completely understand why they suspect my exceptional circumstances. This doesn't make their looks sting any less. Dwelling on Dofol's detective's unsettling remarks earlier leads me to wonder what happened to the Detective Alliance. Look, being on edge won't help us at all. Why don't we just, I don't know, bring him along? We still gotta find out Old Man Senior. So, it's not like we have time to stand around arguing. Our minds are as one, Lady Downtown Detective. I fully concur. Let us treat him as a compatriot until more evidence appears. Our minds are miles apart, weirdo, but whatevs. Call me an airhead, but I'm wearing the armor on this. I think it'd be chill to take him with. Besides, I know my mystery stories. Sitting up would be, like, totally suicidal. Totally suicide. Mystery stories, you say? Techie detective smiles wearily as Rowdy Detective grabs the rope tying me up. Yeah, downtown's got the right idea. Rowdy Detective tears my restraints apart as if they're made of paper. I can now move freely, except for my bound hands. But still, with raw physical strength, it's hard to believe a girl smaller than me can be so powerful. Mistrust in each other is exactly what the quartering Duke wants, so for now, I'll trust you two. I wish you'd asked before acting, but at the least I do agree with the notion. My search didn't turn up anything suspicious. Until further notice, she'll be coming with us, seeing as it's a race against the clock. I'll have to catch you up as we're moving along. This guy looks like he drinks. Well, I mean, I guess he's the workaholic, so of course he looks like that. Thank you. The detectives head out one after another. Now that the mood has lightened up a bit, I can't help but let out a sigh of relief. I've seen plenty of suspects get interrogated in mystery novels and shows, but never I did expect to be the one in the hot seat. Life sure keeps you on your toes. That reminds me, shall we call you intruder? You don't have a detective alias yet, right? This is your chance to pick one. Well, my name is... I barely stopped myself from answering Downtown Detective with my real name. Keeping your name secret is the first rule of the Detective Alliance. It can be deadly for your identity to get out between cases. That's why upon joining the DA, members are given a one-word code name based on the defining characteristic of theirs. That code name is known as a detective alias. I've longed to have one of my own since Mr. Gungoji told me about them. My detective alias is... Despite my yearning for one, it's hard to think of anything on the spot. I have no experience, skills, or defining characteristics. To be perfectly honest, I couldn't even begin to guess why I was led into the Detective Alliance. What, is it that hard? You're older than me. Shouldn't you have a little more life experience? Like, seriously, dude, I can't even with you. Sorry, this is really embarrassing. Well, let's think of one together. What are your skills? Anything you're good at in all cases you've been in so far? I'm good at finding cats. They like me. Downtown Detective keeps a deep sigh. My amateur status fills me with shame. Alrighty then, how about we call you Incompetent Detective? What? Now that's just cruel. You might as well be saying I'm good for nothing. I mean, that's... Not that it isn't true, but still. I'd obviously prefer a different name, but before I can object... Hey everyone, until we think of something better, this here is Incompetent Detective, okay? Nice and humble. Fitting for a young gun itching to find his place in the world. I see, so it's a caricature of your traits, in the same vein as doleful or workaholic. Right, you're one of us now, Incompetent. A name with which we can call upon your aid deepens our bond. I am at your service, Incompetent. Picking on the new guy takes me back. Incompetent Detective rapidly gains the approval of the rest, so rapidly that it's too late to dispute it. Much to much grudging. Look at how fast your name caught on. I'm so happy for you, Incompetent. It doesn't make me happy at all. Despite my protest, Downtown Detective ignores me, flashing a devilish smile. Thus, I become the Incompetent Detective, an official member of the Detective Alliance. Aw, that would have been the perfect moment to end things. I don't know how long this demo is. Okay. Alright, so we're gonna end this here. And then, I guess, do one more episode. Should finish the demo. Maybe two more. Who knows? Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. See you on the next one. Adios.